Welcome to our inaugural interview in a knowledge series by the International Center for Humanitarian Affairs based at the Kenya Red Cross. Today, we have the privilege of hosting Dr. Ilian Ubalijoro. Ilian is a professor of practice at McGill, and she's a board member of the International Leadership Association, an association that deals with, which promotes practice and research in leadership. Ilian is originally from Rwanda, and she currently lives and works in Montreal, Canada. Today, we're going to talk to her about leadership in Africa, and we will use the training that we have that is ongoing, a leadership training, which is a collaboration between Lancaster University, the International Center for Humanitarian Affairs here at the Kenya Red Cross, and the AIDS Alliance. My name is Dr. James Kisia, and I'm the Executive Director here at the center. So Ilian, the issue of leadership is a foundational issue, especially here in Africa, and it's an important issue that I think we have chosen to do something about, to build capacity. And you are here as a faculty for the International Health Leadership course, and you've now been here for this is the second module. Can you tell us what your commitment is to this and what your experience has been so far?
So my commitment to this program has been from the initial discussions around the urgency of a program like this for African health leaders. We need health leaders that are able to tackle the immense challenges and the complex challenges that Africa faces on a health level, not only from disease, but also from disaster, from pandemics. And this is really critical to how we grow Africa and how Africa engages in the world.
Now, you are from Rwanda, and you grew up in Rwanda, and you were educated in the West, but you've had continuous interaction with organizations and governments in Africa. From Rwanda's point of view, and from some of the countries that are emerging from conflict, what has been your take on what role can leadership play in shaping the future of these countries?
Leadership plays a primary role in shaping countries that have gone through deep trauma, whether it's from conflict, whether it's from disasters, natural disasters. The critical nature of leadership is about visioning a new world for people who have gone through intense trauma. And the need for leadership is really about setting systems in place that enable people to innovate, to grow, to be able to be creative, participate, know that there are governance systems that will support them. But all of these need to be created from scratch. And this is where leadership becomes a foundational issue.
Yeah. Now, tell us a little bit about the international leadership program. Maybe how, as a faculty, how it's structured and what is intended to be accomplished in this course.
So the first module was about leading self, and really it was about the executives who are working in health in Africa or working for African health to explore who they are as leaders, to understand how to become better listeners, to have an idea of what type of archetypal systems they are working with inside of themselves and what they're facing on the outside. So it was really about how do you become more conscious of how you lead others, and how conscious are you of how that comes out, and how do you use reflection to deepen the leadership practice. The second module we're working on right now is a module that takes the leader who has started reflecting on how they lead themselves and really look at how do they lead within organization, how do they lead within stakeholder engagement, and how those interactions with organizations, with stakeholders, influence their capacity to lead change that can be transformative and help Africa move forward more effectively.
And what's different about this training? There've been many training programs on leadership. Some of them effective, some of them not effective. Is this just another course, or what? What is the difference in this course?
Well, I consider this course really an innovative, groundbreaking program, because what it does is it looks at the individual leader, it looks at the culture the leader comes from, it looks at all the different cultures the leader interacts in, it looks at the complex system the leader is involved in. So it's a systems approach to leadership. It's not a piecemeal. It's about leadership in the integrated whole sense. And this, for me, is very exciting because we need this type of leadership to really bring about sustainable change in Africa, and sustainable change that improves livelihoods of all Africans.
Okay. So maybe I go back to some of the things some of the experiences that people coming into the course, or others that are, that we have talked to on the continent about some of the major barriers to change, major barriers to leadership development or the leadership practice. In your estimation, what are some of those that we must deal with, institutions and individual level?
One of the major barriers in terms of evolving leadership is understanding what are the fears that are contained in the systems we work with. What are the power plays that are happening? What are people fearful of losing? And how does that play out in the dynamics of the groups we're involved in? And how it plays out in the dynamics of the groups we're involved in will influence the quality of partnerships we establish, and it will influence our capacity to introduce new ideas that can improve health systems. So it's a critical element of all health work, whether it's humanitarian health, whether it's public health, whether it's health in terms of mother-child health or any other parts of dealing with population health. So it's really important to be able to engage the whole self in how we move these systems forward. And so this program is groundbreaking because it takes health managers, health executives, and really gives them tools, gives them the capacity to reflect and look at themselves and see how to more effectively grow their circles of power in service of Africa's health.
Now, maybe coming back to something that is close to your heart about women in leadership. Here in Kenya, we have a population that is slightly over 50% women, and yet, women executives make a very small fraction, almost less than 5%. What is the importance of this to our development as a country, and what are some of the things that we need to be aware of or be doing in order to change the situation?
The barriers that women face are immense. One of the big issues that is present in many African countries that actually have not gone through the level of conflict that Rwanda has is that systems that have traditional ways of operating that have been overlaid by colonialism, by imperialism, have really imposed paternalistic ways of functioning that take away any of the traditional roles that really emphasized the wisdom of women in society. And so the barriers that women face in a country like Kenya are really barriers that have deep historical origins, and also that are overlaid by global dynamics that also make it very hard for women to move forward. And so all of those local influences put a lot of pressure on how women are seeing the safety they have in terms of engaging and having their voices heard, and in being able to engage strategically at a equal level in terms of how they interact with men. So creating more space for women is critical, and giving them tools to grow their leadership so that as they become more numerous in leading, that the systems that have a lot of resistance to seeing women move forward can adapt to this change. It's very important to realize that in order for systems to change, it's not about bringing about revolution, but evolution. And evolution is really about how do you put systems in place that engage people to see that the leadership of women is a leadership that contributes to the betterment of the whole of society, and it actually decreases the blind spots of the current leadership structures and the way they are.
Is there anything else that you want to touch on that you had touched on regarding leadership, regarding this course, regarding Africa and leadership?
Over the last 20 years, I have been in deep reflection and in deep collaboration with people who are interested in transformational leadership for the world. And so this program, with the leadership focus, with the health focus, led with a humanitarian vision of how this should advance, is critical in a time where population growth in Africa is increasing, where youth populations are taking more and more space, where the disasters that are linked to climate disturbances create more issues. The greater youth populations are, the greater chances of conflict if they're not giving opportunities to work, be creative, contribute effectively to society. So all of those are elements that really make humanitarian work led by Africans for Africans more critical, not only for Africa, but for the world. If we look at the pandemic of Ebola and how it affected the countries where it was present, but also how it affected the rest of the continent and disastrous economic effects. Growing humanitarian leadership for Africa is hand in hand with growing the economic opportunities in Africa and growing the social justice opportunities, because we all, wherever we are, we deserve a chance to get out of disastrous situations that may be caused by conflict or by natural disasters. And the humanitarian work and leadership that allows people to have the dignity to get through this can only be improved if we focus on growing the leaders in the system.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And thank you.